Gentlemen, welcome to the Prescott Lab podcast. My name is Dr. Jonathan Prescott. For more than 30 years, I have dedicated my life to one mission, helping men, fathers, grandfathers, husbands, reclaim not just their health, but their dignity and confidence. I've spent decades as a physician, a researcher, and a teacher, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: age does not have to steal your manhood. Now let me be direct with you. Your erections are not fading simply because you've crossed 60. They are fading because your blood vessels, those tiny highways that once carried strength and energy, are slowly clogging, narrowing, and suffocating the very flow that made you feel alive. Pills cannot fix this. Pills only mask it, but your body was designed with the power to repair itself. And the first tools you need are not in a pharmacy, they are in your kitchen, waiting for you to use them. Before we dive into those 4 powerful foods, I want to pause and ask something from you. If this message resonates, if you're ready to take your health back into your own hands, please press the like button right now. And here's my promise: every man who taps that button, I send my blessing to you. May your circulation grow stronger, may your nights be peaceful, may your mornings be full of energy, may your confidence return, and may your relationships shine brighter than ever. A simple click is not just support, it's a signal that you're ready for change, and I will be here to walk with you on that path. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it today. That way you won't miss the next truths that most men never hear, but that can transform your health and intimacy forever. So let's begin. The hidden reason erections grow weaker after 60 has nothing to do with destiny and everything to do with blood flow. And when you understand that, you'll realize that your story, my friend, is not over. Gentlemen, I want you to hear me clearly on this point, because it may be the most important truth you'll ever learn about your health. Erections do not simply fade because you turned 60. They fade because circulation weakens. The vessels that once carried blood freely, powerfully, confidently into your manhood begin to clog, stiffen, and narrow. For decades, the common story men are told by doctors, by friends, even by themselves, is that this is just aging. It's normal, they say. You're getting older, what did you expect? And yet, I've sat across from men in their 70s and 80s who still wake up with strong morning erections, who still enjoy intimacy with their wives, who still feel the fire of confidence inside. If age alone were the reason, how could that be? The truth is simpler and far more hopeful. Erections weaken not because of birthdays, but because of blood flow. Let me take you inside the body for a moment. At 20 or 30, your arteries were clear and flexible. They opened like fresh rubber hoses, letting blood surge through every corner of your body, including the delicate vessels of the penis. That rush of circulation gave you the firmness, stamina, and presence you remember. But as the years passed, the picture began to change. Decades of rich meals, stress hormones coursing through your veins, high blood pressure slowly pressing against vessel walls, cholesterol leaving microscopic scars, all of it adding up to one thing: narrowing. The flexible hose stiffens, the inner lining thickens, and the river of blood becomes a trickle. When blood supply weakens, so do erections. That is biology, not mystery. And yet I can't tell you how many men have walked into my office, head bowed, ashamed, whispering, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't even recognize the man in the mirror." Some think it means their masculinity is gone forever. Some even avoid intimacy altogether, retreating into silence because they don't want to face disappointment. And here is where I lean forward, look them in the eye, and tell them the truth. This is not a death sentence for your intimate life. This is not the end of your manhood. It is a circulation problem, and circulation can be restored. You see, the penis is like the canary in the coal mine. It's the first place in the body to show signs that blood flow is weakening. Why? Because the vessels there are tiny. If the big highways, the arteries to your heart, your brain, your legs, begin to narrow, the small roads of your penis are the first to feel it. That's why erectile problems so often show up years before heart attacks or strokes. In fact, studies show that men with erectile difficulties are up to 3 times more likely to face serious cardiovascular events within the next decade. So when your erections weaken, it's not just a bedroom issue, it's a warning signal from your entire vascular system. I remember a patient named Harold, 65 years old, a retired firefighter. He came in convinced that his body had betrayed him. He said, "Doc, I fought fires for 30 years and I never felt fear like I feel now, fear that I'll never be the man my wife married." We ran tests. His testosterone was fine, his nerves were fine, but his arteries told the story: plaque, stiffness, sluggish blood flow. Within months of focusing not on pills but on repairing his circulation, Harold came back different. He had fire in his eyes again, and he told me something I'll never forget. It wasn't youth I got back, it was myself. That's why this truth matters so deeply. Because when you understand that weak erections are not about lost manhood, but about weakened circulation, you also understand something else. You are not powerless. Circulation can be improved. Arteries can become more flexible. Blood flow can return. And this is where your daily choices become medicine. Every bite you take, every step you walk, every night of rest you protect, these are the acts that open your vessels again. Food, movement, sleep, hydration, these are not just lifestyle tips, they are lifelines. Gentlemen, don't let anyone tell you this is just age. Don't accept the lie that intimacy belongs only to your younger years. I've seen too many men prove otherwise. Your erections weaken after 60 not because you are broken, but because your circulation is asking for help. And when you answer that call, when you give your body what it needs, you'll discover that the best days of intimacy and strength are not locked in the past. Now that we've uncovered the real reason, the next step is hope itself. Because if blood flow is the root problem, then food, the right food, can be the root solution. And in just a moment, we'll turn to 4 natural, powerful foods that have helped countless men restore their strength, their intimacy, and their confidence. Gentlemen, before we dive into the specific foods that can transform your circulation, I want to pause and lay down the foundation. Because here's the truth: food opens the door, but habits keep that door open. You can eat beets, dark chocolate, fatty fish, and watermelon every day, but if the habits surrounding your life are closing the very arteries you're trying to heal, you'll be running in circles. Over my decades in medicine, I've seen a pattern. The men who thrive are not the ones who try the most exotic remedies or spend thousands on supplements. They are the men who return to the simple, consistent actions that fuel circulation and protect the body's natural rhythm. Think of these habits as the soil in which health grows. Without fertile ground, even the best seeds cannot take root. Let's begin with the first habit: movement. Blood is meant to move, and so is your body. I often tell patients that their arteries are like rivers. When water flows, the river stays clear. When it stagnates, silt builds up and clogs the banks. In the same way, when your body is still for hours on end, blood thickens, pressure rises, and vessels stiffen. A simple 30-minute walk each day can make the difference between sluggish circulation and vibrant flow. You don't need to run marathons or punish yourself in the gym. Gentle, steady movement, walking, cycling, light resistance exercises, acts like a pump, pushing life through your vessels and flushing away what doesn't belong. The second habit is sleep. Many men underestimate how vital rest is to manhood itself. During the night, your body runs on a sacred rhythm. Growth hormone surges, tissues repair, and yes, nocturnal erections occur. Those nighttime erections are not just about intimacy. They are nature's way of exercising the tissues of the penis, keeping them oxygenated and strong. But when sleep is shallow, broken, or neglected, those natural cycles weaken. Over time, this silent deficit erodes both energy and intimacy. That's why I often tell men, protecting your sleep is protecting your manhood. Turn off the screens, keep a regular bedtime, and give your body the hours it needs to renew itself. Third, we must speak of hydration. Blood is mostly water. When you are dehydrated, blood thickens. Like syrup in the pipes. Thick blood moves sluggishly, strains the heart, and starves delicate tissues of oxygen. Men who commit to drinking enough water often notice sharper focus, easier erections, and more endurance in every aspect of life. It's such a simple step, yet most men overlook it because they mistake thirst for hunger or get lost in daily busyness. Start your day with a glass of water and let hydration be your quiet ally throughout the day. And then there are the destructive habits. Smoking and excess alcohol are two of the greatest enemies of circulation. Nicotine constricts blood vessels like a vice, shrinking the very pathways you need open. Alcohol in excess inflames the liver, derails hormone balance, and numbs the nervous system. I've seen men who gave up cigarettes or cut down their drinking come back weeks later with brighter eyes, stronger energy, and yes, firmer erections. It is not magic. It is biology responding to the removal of poison. Now, I want to be clear. None of these habits are about perfection. They are about direction. You don't have to walk 10 miles a day or become a monk who never touches wine. You simply need consistency, a walk after dinner, a commitment to 7 hours of rest, a bottle of water at your side, the decision to replace one cigarette with none. These are not grand gestures, but small signals to your body that say, I am on your side. I think of a patient named Leonard, a 72-year-old truck driver. He lived on coffee, cigarettes, and late nights, convinced that pills were the only way he could keep intimacy alive. When he finally let go of the cigarettes, replaced soda with water, and walked around his neighborhood 3 times a week, he told me something remarkable. Doc, I feel lighter, like my body isn't fighting me anymore. His wife later thanked me, whispering, "You gave me my husband back." But I didn't give him back. I only pointed him to the habits that opened the door for his body to heal itself. Gentlemen, remember this: food is medicine, but habits are the frame that holds the medicine in place. When you align movement, sleep, hydration, and discipline, you create an environment where those foods can unleash their full power. Skip the foundation and even the best diet will crumble. Build the foundation, and even small steps forward will create profound changes. So as we move into the 4 foods that open vessels and restore circulation, hold these habits close. Because the truth is, you don't just want to add years to your life, you want to add life to your years. And that begins with the ground you stand on each day. Gentlemen, now that we've laid the foundation with habits, it's time to open the door to what I call nature's true medicine, food. Because if circulation is the problem, then the solution lies in what restores circulation. Pills only put a mask on the issue. But the right foods eaten consistently can literally change the chemistry of your blood vessels, help them relax, and allow life-giving flow to return. I've watched this happen over and over in my practice. Men in their 60s, 70s, men who thought they were finished, suddenly discover strength returning, energy rising, and intimacy waking up again. And it wasn't because of some miracle drug. It was because they put the right foods on their plate. Now, before I reveal these 4 foods, let me check in with you. I see a comment here from Robert in Ohio. He says, "Doc, I've been walking 20 minutes a day for the past month and my energy already feels different. Should I push for 30? Robert, let me answer you right here. 20 minutes is a great start. If your body feels good, aim for 30. Gentlemen, let me ask you, how many minutes are you walking each day? Type your number in the comments below. Let's make this a community of men taking action together. And if you're not walking yet, type a 0 so I know where you're starting from. No shame here. This is about progress, not perfection. Now let's turn to the foods. And they are not exotic. You won't need to order them from across the world or spend a fortune. In fact, chances are they are sitting quietly in your local grocery store, waiting for you to notice them. These 4 foods are rich in natural compounds, nitrates, flavonoids, omega-3s, citrulline, that directly support nitric oxide and keep arteries flexible. What expensive pills try to mimic, these foods provide in their purest form. Think of it this way: your arteries are like rubber hoses. With the wrong lifestyle, they stiffen, crack, and clog. But with the right nourishment, they soften, open, and flow again. That's what these foods do. They don't just keep you alive, they restore the spark that makes you feel like a man. Over the years, I've seen men shake their heads when I mention something as simple as a beet or a piece of dark chocolate or a slice of watermelon. They laugh. It's because it sounds too ordinary to be powerful. But then, weeks later, they return to my office, grinning, telling me their mornings feel different. Their wives are noticing, their confidence is back. And I remind them, ordinary does not mean weak. Ordinary foods used wisely can create extraordinary results. Gentlemen, here is what excites me most. These 4 foods are accessible to everyone. No matter where you live, no matter your budget, no matter your age, you can add them to your plate. They're not about chasing youth. They're about reclaiming dignity, energy, and closeness with the woman beside you. So here's what we'll do. I'll take you through each food. One by one, I'll show you why it works, the science behind it, and I'll tell you real stories of men who used it and rediscovered themselves. And as I reveal each food, I want you to think, is this something I can add to my meals this week? Not someday, not when it's convenient, this week. And because I want this to be a conversation, tell me in the comments, which of these foods do you already eat and which one do you think might surprise you? I read every single response and I'll address some of them in our next session. Now let's begin. The first food is earthy, humble, often overlooked in the produce aisle. Yet inside, it carries the very compound your body needs to open blood vessels and restore circulation. Food number 1, beets. Food #1, beets. Gentlemen, let me start with a story. A man named Robert, 68 years old, a retired engineer, came to see me one winter morning. His voice was heavy, his shoulders slumped. "Doc," he said quietly, "I feel like my body has given up on me. I don't have the energy I once had, and intimacy, it feels like a memory." He wasn't just talking about his erections, he was talking about his spirit, about the quiet loss of identity that so many men experience when circulation begins to fail. Now, I didn't hand Robert a prescription. I didn't tell him to spend thousands of dollars on procedures. I suggested something simple, something so ordinary he actually laughed at me when I said it. "Beets," he said. "Doctor, how could a root vegetable fix something as personal as this?" But Robert trusted me enough to try. He began drinking a small glass of beet juice each morning, sometimes adding roasted beets to his dinner plate. 3 weeks later, Robert walked back into my office with a grin that told me everything before he even opened his mouth. "Doc," he said, "I don't know how to explain it, but I feel alive again. I wake up with firmness I thought was gone forever." My wife noticed it before I even said a word. Gentlemen, I can tell you with confidence, what happened for Robert can happen for you. Here's why. Beets are rich in natural nitrates. When you eat them, your body transforms those nitrates into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is the very signal your blood vessels are waiting for. It relaxes the smooth muscle lining of the arteries, allowing them to open wide and carry more blood. The same biological pathway that expensive erectile dysfunction pills try to mimic is fueled naturally by this humble vegetable. Think of it this way, your blood vessels are like garden hoses. Over the years, they stiffen, narrow, and clog. Nitric oxide is the command that tells the hose to soften and open again, letting water flow freely. With every serving of beets, whether roasted, steamed, or juiced, you're not just feeding your stomach, you're feeding your arteries. You're restoring the ability of your body to send blood where it belongs, your heart, your brain, and yes, your manhood. And the benefits go far beyond intimacy. Improved circulation means better oxygen delivery throughout the body. Men who eat beets often report sharper thinking, more stamina during exercise, and lower blood pressure. For men in their 60s and 70s, that can mean the difference between fatigue and vitality, between sitting out life and standing tall again. But let me be clear, this isn't magic. Beets are not a one-time fix. You don't eat a beet on Monday and expect to feel like you're 20 again on Tuesday. This is about consistency. When Robert made Beets a daily habit, his nitric oxide levels rose steadily, his arteries relaxed consistently, and his confidence returned. That's the secret: small daily choices that accumulate into transformation. Now, some of you may be skeptical, just like Robert was. I can almost hear someone typing in the comments right now, "Doc, are you seriously telling me that Beets can replace my pills?" Let me answer directly. Pills may help temporarily, but they never fix the root problem. Beets and foods like them work with your body, not against it. They strengthen the very foundation of circulation instead of masking the weakness. So here's my challenge to you. This week, add beets to your life. Roast them in the oven, slice them into a salad, or drink a glass of beet juice in the morning. Try it consistently for 30 days. Then come back here, comment below, and tell me what you feel. I read every response, and your story might be the encouragement another man needs to take the first step. Gentlemen, I believe in this because I've seen it. Beets are not exotic, they are not expensive, but they are powerful. They remind us that nature already gave us what we need to restore our strength. And when circulation improves, every part of your health improves: your energy, your focus, your heart, and the intimacy you thought was gone forever. Beets are the beginning, but they are only the first. Because the second food on this list doesn't come from the soil, it comes from something far more indulgent. Something most men think they have to give up for the sake of health. Yet, when chosen wisely, it can actually heal your arteries and bring sweetness back to your life. Food number 2, dark chocolate. Food #2, dark chocolate. Gentlemen, the second food on our list may surprise you because it hardly sounds like medicine at all. In fact, for many men, it feels like a guilty pleasure, something they believe they must avoid if they want to stay healthy. But what if I told you that dark chocolate, when chosen wisely, can actually heal your circulation and restore your vitality? Let me share a story. John, 71 years old, walked into my office a few years ago. He was a disciplined man, the kind who cut out every dessert the moment his doctor warned him about cholesterol. He hadn't touched sweets in over a decade. When we talked about circulation and intimacy, I asked him about his diet. When I suggested he add a small square of dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa, each evening, he nearly fell out of his chair laughing. "Doctor," he said, "I've given up sugar to save my heart, and now you're telling me chocolate will save my marriage." But John trusted me enough to try. 1 month later, he returned with a smile. His words were simple: "Doc, I don't know if it's the chocolate or if my wife is happier these days, but something is definitely working." His blood pressure was down, his circulation had improved, and his confidence had returned. Here's why. Dark chocolate is rich in flavonoids, natural compounds that act like armor for your blood vessels. Imagine your arteries as flexible rubber hoses. When they stiffen, blood struggles to pass through. Flavonoids soften those hoses, relax the lining of your vessels, and encourage blood to flow freely again. The result: better circulation to your heart, your brain, and yes, your penis. Stronger erections, more stamina, and renewed intimacy are not accidents. They are the direct result of healthier vessels. But dark chocolate does more than just open arteries. It also supports your brain. Flavonoids increase blood flow to regions involved in memory, focus, and mood. That's why men who enjoy small amounts of dark chocolate often report not only stronger intimacy, but sharper thinking and a brighter outlook on life. Health, after all, is not only about the body, it's also about the mind and spirit. Now, let me make something very clear. I'm not talking about candy bars loaded with sugar and milk. I'm talking about real dark chocolate, 70% cocoa or higher, minimal sugar, eaten in moderation. A small square a few times a week is enough. More than that, and you invite excess calories and sugar that can undo the benefits. But that one square, savored slowly, can be a ritual of healing rather than a guilty indulgence. I can almost hear someone in the comments saying, "Doc, are you telling me chocolate is now health food?" And my answer is this: not all chocolate, but dark chocolate, when chosen well, is a gift. It proves that health does not always mean deprivation. Sometimes it means rediscovering the hidden power in foods we already love. Gentlemen, I want you to picture this. Instead of dreading dessert, imagine sitting with your wife in the evening, sharing a piece of rich, dark chocolate, knowing it is not only safe but strengthening your arteries and fueling the closeness between you. That is health that tastes good. So here's my challenge this week: buy a bar of real dark chocolate. Choose one with at least 70% cocoa. Break off one square, let it melt on your tongue, and remember, you are not depriving yourself, you are nourishing your circulation. Then come back here, comment, and tell me how it feels to bring pleasure and health together in the same bite. Dark chocolate is proof that healing doesn't have to be bitter. It can be rich, sweet, and deeply satisfying. And if chocolate sounds indulgent, wait until you hear about the next food. It doesn't come from the earth, but from the sea. Packed with life-giving oils, it not only protects your heart, it revives your manhood. Food number 3, fatty fish. Food #3, fatty fish. Gentlemen, the third food on our list may not sound glamorous, but I assure you, it is one of the most powerful allies your body has when it comes to circulation and intimacy. I'm talking about fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout. These humble creatures of the sea are swimming with life-giving oils known as omega-3 fatty acids. And when I say they can change your health, I mean it. Let me tell you about a patient of mine named David, 65 years old, a retired teacher. For decades, David avoided fish. He told me, "Doc, I never liked the taste." Instead, his dinners were heavy with red meats and fried foods. By the time he came to me, his cholesterol was climbing, his blood pressure was creeping upward, and his erections were weaker year after year. He sat across from me, embarrassed, convinced that pills were his only hope. I explained to David that omega-3s are like oil for the engine of your arteries. They reduce inflammation, lower triglycerides, and make the blood less sticky so it flows more easily through your vessels. They also keep artery walls elastic, preventing the stiffening that strangles circulation. David was skeptical, but he agreed to try. He began adding salmon to his dinners twice a week. A month later, David walked back into my office grinning. "Doc," he said, "I feel lighter, my energy's up, and let's just say my wife is happier than she's been in years." That is the quiet magic of fatty fish. No pills, no gimmicks, just the steady nourishment of arteries, restoring what time and lifestyle had stolen. Let's go deeper into the science. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, act like peacekeepers in the bloodstream. They calm inflammation, the very fire that damages vessel walls and leads to plaque buildup. They improve the balance of cholesterol, raising HDL, the good cholesterol that cleans arteries. They also improve endothelial function, that's the ability of blood vessels to relax and open when blood flow is needed most. Gentlemen, that moment of intimacy you long for is nothing more than a surge of blood into the penis. Omega-3s make sure the road is open when the time comes. But the benefits don't stop at intimacy. Fatty fish protect your heart, sharpen your brain, and even lift your mood. Depression and fatigue often shadow men in their later years, but omega-3s nourish the brain itself, improving clarity and resilience. So when you eat salmon or sardines, you're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your spirit. Now I know what some of you are thinking. "Doc, I can't stand the taste of fish." And I hear that often. If that's you, start small. Try grilled salmon with lemon, mix sardines into a salad, experiment with smoked mackerel. And if the flavor still isn't for you, high-quality fish oil supplements can be a bridge, though I always recommend real food first. I can almost hear another man typing in the comments. "How many times a week should I eat fish?" My answer: aim for at least 2 servings of fatty fish each week. That's enough to load your system with omega-3s and keep circulation humming. Pair that with the habits we discussed: movement, sleep, hydration, and the effects compound. Gentlemen, what I love about fatty fish is that they prove a simple principle. What's good for your heart is good for your manhood. The same arteries that feed your chest also feed your most intimate organ. You cannot separate the two. When you care for one, you care for the other. I think back to David's words, I feel lighter, like my body isn't fighting me anymore. That's the gift of omega-3s. They don't just make life longer, they make life easier, smoother, more alive. So here's my challenge for you this week. Replace 2 heavy dinners with fatty fish. Try it for a month. Then notice how you feel. And if you've already made fish part of your routine, share your experience in the comments. Your story may be the encouragement another man needs to try. Gentlemen, fatty fish are proof that the sea itself holds medicine for your arteries, your heart, your brain, and your intimacy. And if fish can bring such quiet power, wait until you hear about the 4th food. It isn't from the earth or the ocean. It's a fruit, sweet, refreshing. Found at every summer picnic. Scientists even call it nature's Viagra. Food number 4, watermelon. Food #4, watermelon. Gentlemen, the 4th food may seem almost too simple to carry real power. Most of us think of watermelon as nothing more than a refreshing fruit for hot summer days, a sweet treat at picnics. But inside those bright red slices lies a compound so potent, researchers have nicknamed watermelon nature's Viagra. Let me take you back to a patient of mine named Frank, 72 years old, a retired postman. Frank sat across from me, frustration etched on his face. "Doc," he said, "it's been more than 10 years since I felt youthful firmness. I've tried pills, but they leave me with pounding headaches and no sense of control. I want something natural, something real." I smiled and told him something he did not expect. "Frank, I want you to eat a cup of watermelon every day." He chuckled. "Watermelon? You're joking, right?" But Frank trusted me enough to try. A month later, he walked back into my office, and before he even sat down, I saw the spark in his eyes. "Doc," he said, "I feel alive again. My mornings are different." My wife noticed before I even told her. It's not just intimacy, it's energy, it's mood, it's me. Here's why watermelon works. It contains an amino acid called citrulline, which your body converts into arginine and then into nitric oxide. And as you've heard me say before, nitric oxide is the spark that opens blood vessels. It relaxes the arteries, allows blood to surge into your heart, your brain, and yes, your penis. That's why scientists draw the comparison to pharmaceutical drugs. Watermelon doesn't act instantly like a pill, but over time, it nourishes the very pathway that makes natural, reliable erections possible. But the benefits don't stop there. Watermelon is rich in lycopene, an antioxidant that protects the prostate and reduces inflammation. For older men, that's no small gift. Lycopene also supports heart health and skin vitality, helping you feel younger both inside and out. And let's not forget hydration. Watermelon is more than 90% water, which means each bite restores fluid balance, keeping your blood smooth and your circulation responsive. Think of it like this: your body is an engine, and nitric oxide is the ignition switch. Without it, the engine won't turn over. Watermelon supplies the raw material your body needs to keep that ignition firing. And when the engine starts, everything else, your energy, your mood, your intimacy, runs more smoothly. Now I can hear someone asking in the comments, "Doc, how much watermelon should I eat?" The answer is simple. About 1 cup a day is enough. Slice it fresh, eat it as a snack, or blend it into a smoothie. The key is consistency, not excess. And for those worried about sugar, watermelon has a high water content which dilutes the sugar, making it far less harmful than processed sweets. What I love most about watermelon is that it shatters the myth that health must be bitter, restrictive, or joyless. Here is a fruit that tastes sweet, cools your body, hydrates your blood, protects your prostate, and restores intimacy all in one. Gentlemen, that is not just food, that is medicine disguised as pleasure. I remember Frank's parting words to me. He said, "Doc, I used to think my best years were behind me. Now I think maybe they're waiting just ahead." And that's the gift watermelon gave him, not just firmer mornings, but renewed hope. And so here's my challenge to you. Add watermelon to your plate this week. Share a slice with your wife, your children, your grandchildren, make it part of your life, and then come back and tell me in the comments how it makes you feel. I promise you what seems simple can be the beginning of something extraordinary. Gentlemen, we have now walked through 4 foods: beets, dark chocolate, fatty fish, and watermelon. Each one opens your vessels, restores circulation, and brings life back to your health and intimacy. But food is only part of the story. To unlock their full power, you must pair them with daily habits that amplify the effect. And that is exactly where we are headed next. Gentlemen, as we come to the end of this journey together, I want to bring everything back to one simple truth. The strength of your erections, your energy, your intimacy, even your sense of manhood, these do not vanish simply because you turned 60 or 70. They fade when circulation weakens. They fade when blood can no longer flow as it once did. And if circulation is the root of the problem, then circulation can also be the solution. That should give you hope. Because it means you are not powerless. It means your story is not over. I have seen too many men in my practice, fathers, husbands, grandfathers, sit across from me convinced their best days were gone, only to return weeks later with light in their eyes, telling me they feel alive again. And every time I remind them, you did this, you chose life. We've talked about 4 foods that hold the power to open your vessels and restore blood flow. Beets, rich in nitrates, sending nitric oxide through your system like a fresh wind clearing a clogged chimney. Dark chocolate, softening your arteries with flavonoids, reminding you that healing can be sweet. Fatty fish, nourishing your heart and manhood together with omega-3s, calming the silent fires of inflammation. And watermelon, the humble fruit scientists call nature's Viagra, hydrating your body and igniting the intimacy you thought was gone. These foods are not exotic. They are not out of reach. They sit on the shelves of your local grocery store waiting for you, and when you add them to your life consistently, faithfully, you give your body the tools it needs to repair itself. But food alone is not the whole story. We spoke about habits, the foundation, walking each day because moving blood is healthy blood, sleeping deeply because nighttime erections are nature's gym for your tissues, drinking water because blood is water, and letting go of destructive habits like smoking and excess alcohol because they choke the very circulation you are trying to restore. Gentlemen, the combination of these foods and habits is not just about living longer. It is about living better. It is about waking up with energy, lying down with peace, and standing tall with confidence. It is about reclaiming intimacy with your wife, the closeness that years of marriage deserve to protect, not lose. I think back to Robert, who found new mornings through beets, to John, who rediscovered sweetness with dark chocolate, to David, who felt lighter and freer after salmon, to Frank, who found hope again with watermelon. These men are not exceptions. They are reminders that change is possible at any age. So here is my message to you. Do not accept the lie that your best years are behind you. Do not surrender to the whisper that says age has stolen your manhood. It has not. Your body is asking for help. And when you answer that call, you will find that the strength, the intimacy, the dignity you long for are waiting just ahead. Now let me speak to you directly. If this conversation has opened your eyes, I want you to act, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Start with one change. Add one of these foods to your plate, take that walk, drink that glass of water, because change is not built on grand gestures, it is built on small steps repeated with faith. And here is my request. If you found this message valuable, press the like button right now. Each like tells the algorithm that men's health matters, that your dignity matters, that your story deserves to be heard. And when you press it, know this: I send my blessing to you. May your blood flow stronger, may your nights be peaceful, may your mornings be firm, may your heart be light, may your marriage be full of laughter and closeness again. And don't forget to subscribe because this is only the beginning. I will continue to share truths that most doctors won't tell you, truths that can change not only your health, but the way you live the rest of your life. And if you are ready to take the first step, type the number 1 in the comments. If you're still unsure, type 0 and I promise I will meet you there, answer your doubts, and walk with you forward. Gentlemen, remember this: the best years of intimacy, connection, and health are not locked in the past. They can be ahead of you. As if you choose to make them so, you are not broken, you are not finished. You are simply waiting for the blood to flow again, and it can.